You're listening to the Woman of Value podcast. You are about to hear the story of a woman who is following her dreams and passions and creating positive change in the world.
There was a great shift when I decided to embrace being 50 and single and not be ashamed of it.
Mm-hmm.
There was a major shift in me, and suddenly I relaxed because I let go. So when I relaxed and let go, I didn't care really. And so this nice guy comes into the picture. I didn't care if he married me or not.
Right.
Get it? Like all that angst was gone. I didn't care. Let's just hang out. Let's not call it anything. Let's just have fun. I don't want to worry. I don't want to have anxiety and, is this going anywhere? And, is this going to happen? Am I finally going to get married? And I took it off the table. It was done. It was not even a consideration anymore. And because of that, I was able to enjoy the ride.
My guest today is Treva Brandon Scharf. She's a certified life coach, a dating expert, a fitness professional, and she got married for the first time at 50. She has over 35 years in the coaching business and many more in the singles world. Treva knows firsthand how to achieve peak performance in life and love. She writes about surviving singledom, and finding love later in life at her blog, The Late Blooming Bride. And she's been featured in many top publications. She's also an in-demand speaker for conferences and online summits and podcasts. She's been on my other podcast, Last First Date Radio, and I'm so excited to have her here today. She's also the host of her own podcast with her husband, Robbie, Done Being Single, and I've been on that one too. So we just keep crossing over. Welcome to the show, Treva.
Thanks so much. I love here. I love you. I love being here.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate it. And I know a lot is going on in your life, and we'll get to that in a few minutes. But let's start with your definition of woman of value.
Not to toot my own horn here, but I have, as you mentioned, been going through a lot of stuff with my parents. And when you say the word value and woman, that feels like being responsible, being solid, being called to duty, rising to the occasion, stepping up, showing up. That to me is value. And I have been, I've had my hands full with two sick parents, one who has since passed away. And I have had glimpses of my own worth and value over the years. This is a different kind of value. I have even surprised myself that I'm getting through this, and it's not for the faint of heart. So that to me is my definition of woman of value.
Well, this is where you are, and it's so interesting that you define it as somebody who shows up and steps up, because that's part of my motto is show up, stand up, speak up. And when you're in crisis, it really does challenge you to rise up or fall apart. You have choices, right? And you certainly have risen up. So since you brought it up, why don't we talk a little bit about what you've been going through? Because I am really grateful that you're here today, since it's been quite a month for you, and it's only been a week since your father's passing. So tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, so mom went into the hospital first, mid-December, rushed to the ER with complications of unmanaged diabetes, which led to a host of other chain reaction things. She got pneumonia and then a pulmonary embolism, and she was in ICU for 5 days, and then she got released. And when she was just getting released into a hospital rehab, my father went into the hospital. They are divorced for many, many years. I'm an only child. I found the timing of it strangely weird and karmic. But then again, they have a sort of strange and weird and karmic relationship themselves. They're both very still attached to each other. And even though he remarried, it felt like, oh, of course you're going into the hospital together. So then my mom gets released, but still under, medical care. Dad goes in. Turns out he has lung cancer, which metastasized to the brain. And that was 3 weeks ago, and he just died last Tuesday.
Mm.
And this is, I don't know what I'm on, like sort of autopilot. I feel like I'm a zombie. I don't know if I'm a zombie or if I'm fully present, but I am definitely firing on all cylinders, and I'm going because mom is now moving into assisted living. So I have had zero time to really process much, catch my breath, because now I got to pack up my mother and get her into a new facility now with better care. And now because she's a diabetic, she needs, shots. And so it's been a whirlwind, and I'm, have not had time to decompress yet. This could be my first time sitting.
I'm honored that you're here, and I'm sorry for your loss. And maybe we'll unpack some of this today and help you decompress a little bit. It's not a therapy session, but
we'll also help unpack my mom's stuff. Come over tomorrow and help me.
Sorry, can't do that. I have packed and unpacked my father so many times. We basically kidnapped him at some point because he needed to be moved to assisted living and didn't agree with us.
Yeah.
And so I remember years ago, he was coming to a wedding in New York. He lived in Baltimore. And we saw that he was declining. He was falling. He was not taking care of himself. And so we said, we have this place and you could try it out for a couple weeks. And if you don't like it, it's fine. And then we went to his apartment, cleaned it out, got everything out, moved him up, never told him how much it cost. We did everything behind his back. My brother managed his finances. But, sometimes you just have to pull it together in the most difficult times. And I can relate to so much of what you're saying. And so I'm really sorry. And I'm sure that it brought up all kinds of things for you. So tell us, a little bit, your parents were divorced. How old were you when they got divorced?
I think around 8.
Oh, you were really little.
Yeah. And they did not move on quickly. So they did not live in this. My feeling is they didn't get divorced for anything, for lack of love. They had tremendous love for each other. I just think that their personality types couldn't mesh, and they just couldn't make it work. But they never stopped loving each other. And because of that, it put me in the middle a lot and sucked into their drama too many times. And, most kids want their parents to stay together forever. No, I knew it was so unhealthy and so dysfunctional. And I knew that they needed to go their own ways. And yet they didn't for a really long time, even though my mom had a couple boyfriends in the beginning. And then my father he did at some time have a girlfriend. I mean, it took forever for them they had so much unfinished business with each other. And I didn't care, because now at that point, I just sort of intuitively knew, first of all, I think because I'm an only child, I maybe had more observational skills or intuition, or I just knew they weren't supposed to be together. And then by the time I started to grow up, I didn't care anymore. I already liked boys, and I was like, I don't care what you two do. Just leave me out of it. Get me out of your drama. Stop sucking me back in. Stop putting me in the middle, pitting me against each other, and, having me like relay messages back and forth to them. It was really not a cool thing to do to a kid. And then it took a while for them to feel comfortable moving on with other people, which I don't think helped me in my development. I had 0 role models for healthy love. I mean, I didn't know what it looked like. To me, it was just drama filled, and angst-ridden,
Yeah.
love was always like just pain and torture. And it's no shock. I didn't wait 50 years, but some of it I waited, but that I finally got it together later in life and was able to get married myself. And then my dad finally got remarried to a wonderful woman whom I adore. And he's been with her all these for 22 years married, but more before that. And so I guess, they say your father is your first, I don't want to say love, but I've heard that before, that, your dad is kind of the bar and the template. I don't know what is the word.
It's a model. It's what we model our relationships after our parents, in general, regardless of how healthy or unhealthy. But the father is what you look to for a model for other men. I think that's what we do subconsciously.
So he goes, and I had a very strange reaction. It was sadness. It was, the kind of traditional sadness you would feel when losing someone, but the goodbye part, that was really brutal on me. It was really, it was like made me anxious. It made me nauseous and nervous and like, hyperventilating type. I've never lost anyone that close. So it was new, and it was my father. And it felt like that feeling and I've had a ton of boyfriends and a ton of breakups and a ton of men that, well, not a ton, but a few that said goodbye to me.
Not many.
Yeah, not many. But I know, I've had it enough. I've been on the receiving end of breakups enough to know the feeling of being left. And this hit that button. It was weird. Like, I remember right before I was laying on my bed. Oh, I had come home from saying goodbye to him, and I was laying on my bed, and I just was so anxious. I thought, what the hell is this feeling? It feels familiar. I've had it before, and oh my God, it feels like when a boyfriend would break up with me, kind of that goodbye forever. Goodbye, I'm not coming back.
Yeah.
And in a way, just knowing that and being able to connect those dots was like a huge healing for me. Because as I'm laying there on the bed and I'm freaking out, I'm going, oh my God, did I say everything I needed to? Did he tell me everything? Is there still stuff that needs to be said? Is there any unfinished business? That nervousness, like, is there still more? And now, too bad, I can't. It's done.
Yeah.
And so, now I've got to find my own closure. And that was like ding, ding, ding. But I knew that already. And I've done it so many times in my life post breakup. I've had to heal my heart and find closure and answer the questions that maybe I never asked a guy. Well, I'd say, well, what happened? What's not happening for you? Why are you leaving? Why aren't you into this anymore? I didn't I was careful not to do that, because I think sometimes answers, you don't really want your answers. Sometimes you don't ever get your answers.
A lot of times you don't.
Okay? You don't get your answers. As an aside, I just read an article on Medium about this woman, I think around our age, who she was divorced, getting back into the dating world, and maybe she had her first date in a long time, and she thought it was going great. She was so enjoying it. And then the guy never called again. She called the guy and said, hey, listen, this is my, I'm just getting out there again. Would you give me some feedback? And I don't even know why I'm telling you this story, but there's some connection. There's some relevance to this story.
Closure.
And he told her, he said, you're a very nice person. I enjoyed the evening, but you seem, you're guarded, and there was another word, you're guarded and you're something else. And it healed her.
Wow.
It kind of, the minute he told her that, it changed everything. And he was brutally honest with her. So in a way, I'm getting your answers can work. In her case, it did. Sometimes you don't get your answers, and sometimes you don't want answers.
Right. I love how you tie it all into dating and breakups with your father dying. But well, but it all makes sense because my brain works that way too. I connect everything. My son is like, where the hell are you going with this, Mom? But I think, it's like when you have some unfinished business somewhere, it can come back and you go, oh, wait a minute. I thought I was done with that. But maybe I still need to connect these dots. And what's my father's death teaching me? Like, I think that it's going to keep revealing itself, the messages, the things that are unsaid can be said in an article. They can be said to yourself in a meditation and in some other way. They don't have to be said directly to him, because with limited time, we can only say what we can say. And, and you did the best you could. And I think that's an important thing to remember in general, that often we beat ourselves up after the fact of anything, a breakup, a loss of any kind. And we think, what did I do? What did I do wrong? What's wrong with me? And just knowing I showed up. You said it at the beginning. I showed up. I stepped up. I did the best I could.
Yes, I'm kind of proud of myself. It's not over yet. We still have to get my mom settled and unpacked and, get the whole thing, hopefully without, incident. Because she's kind of like your dad,
Yeah.
She has there's a stigma surrounding assisted living. And,
oh, yeah.
So I'm hoping that she doesn't give us a hard time.
Oh, she probably will.
Knowing her. Like my dad, very proud, very tough and proud. I'm really conscious of the self-care right now.
Yeah, really important.
Because I'm being pulled in so many directions and spread so thin that I'm being super, super conscious of my own self-care in this process, in this experience.
So what does that involve for you?
A lot of deep breathe. Okay, first of all, so coming into all this, I had pneumonia. The last few months have not been easy. So pneumonia, beginning of September for, oh my God, a month and a half. So I've been doing deep breathing anyway, but I find that the deep breathing work, the breath work, is really good for calming me down and sort of keeping me centered and getting me off the ledge. That's number one. Number two, meditation, which I had already been doing along with the breath work. The meditation I've been doing for years. I practice a type of meditation called MBSR, mindfulness-based stress reduction. So in the 10 to 15 minutes, I sit on my couch, if you want to know, eyes closed, quiet, sitting up straight, hands in my lap. I start at my feet. So I do the deep breathing, inhale to the top of my lungs, hold it, exhale, let it go. I do that a few times. And then I slow the pace of my breathing down. I slow the tempo down. And then I start at my feet. And so I feel my feet up to my calves. I do sort of a body, like a scan. I check in with all my body parts as I move up, relaxing, letting go, letting go into my face, into my head. And then I take myself out of my body for a second and I listen to the sounds around me. And then I come back into my body and then I just bring my awareness to the rise and fall of my chest. And sometimes I'll count my breaths to 10. Now at this point, I'm relaxed. Now at this point, I can add in. It's like a stew to me. Meditation is like a stew. You start with a broth, some kind of stock, right? And you add in your vegetables and your. Then I think of everything and anything I'm thankful for because that will just immediately, whatever shit mood you're in, gratitude, it'll snap you right out of it. So I start with gratitude, which always starts with my husband, Robbie, who was always a man of value, but in this case, under these circumstances, has become like a Superman of value. I am so blessed to have him in my life. I say it to him every day. Because like I said, I'm an only child, and I'd still do everything. But having someone, oh, and by the way, when you're an only child and you do finally have a partner, it's so shocking that you have I can't, sometimes I still can't believe my good luck. Where did you come from? Who are you?
Right.
You're helping me. What? I get help? Someone is here to help me? Holy shit. So gratitude goes into, segues into forgiveness work. That is some heavy, powerful stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That is mind-changing, life-changing. Forgiveness.
Does that include yourself?
Yes. Yes, starts with myself, and then to other people. I find that holding grudges is the worst thing you could do for yourself. It is like carrying a big boulder, giant boulder, immovable, right, in your soul. Yeah. It will free you when you start this. So I see pictures of people actually in my mind's eye, and I'll see their face, and I will send them off with love, and I forgive you. People who've hurt me, disappointed me, wronged me, I will go then myself, wherever I fell short, wherever I screwed up. I mean, the self-forgiveness is everything. Yeah. And then from forgiveness, it goes into some more like guided visualization where I'll go on to move on to my goals. So goals, tasks, things I want to accomplish. I see myself doing A, B, and C in my mind's eye, whatever that is. Maybe it's finishing up a project. Maybe it's doing something that I actually see myself doing it. That's really powerful too. Wow. And then I will add in some words, release, let go, surrender. I'll see them again, kind of in my mind's eye right here. And I will repeat those words. I will actually see them in like the word spelled out, depending on what it is that I need to work on at that time. And that's super helpful. And then I just take another deep breath. And when I'm done, only when I'm finished and I feel good and empowered and inspired and lifted, then I open my eyes.
Thank you for sharing that. I could totally picture the whole thing and how powerful it is. And while you were saying it, I also got this aha, kind of like sort of a connect the dots thing. And I was thinking about breath and your father's lung cancer, breath. Your pneumonia, breath. Meditation, breath. The power of breath, the power of getting panicked and getting the anxiety out is all about breath. And something that I found out years ago is that the word for soul in Hebrew is neshama, and the word for breath is neshima. It's from the same root word. Mm-hmm. And so there's a real strong connection between breath and our soul. And I don't know, I just got this whole vision of breath being tied into your father's death, and somehow the breath is a really important piece of it, and the power of breath.
Yes, it's like an instant Ativan, taking a few deep, or Xanax, whichever.
The drug of your choice.
Whatever, yeah. A few really nice, well-placed deep breaths will definitely take you right off the ledge wherever you are. And yes, it will take it down. Mm-hmm. I do find it karmic and, as I said, coincidental and strangely coincidental that the three of us had some chest lung related issue. Yeah. And and it's not shocking because we're so connected, the three of us, me, my father, and my mother. Isn't it interesting that we all had some lung related?
Yeah, that's what I kept thinking as you were talking. It's all the breath. And Boundaries are everything. I teach boundaries. It's one of my favorite things to teach because I also grew up with poor boundaries, and I was married to someone with poor boundaries, and my kids had poor boundaries with me and I had with them. And it was like, okay, I get it. I need boundaries. And it was life-changing when you finally realize, oh, so I've been pulled into this. I've pulled other people into this triangle, and it's once you recognize it, all those little boundary infringements, the unsolicited advice, you should do this, just all those things. And you don't realize, like, why is that bothering me so much? Oh, that person crossed a boundary. They never checked in with me. They're telling me what I should do, which has nothing to do with me. So it's like, anyway, it's fascinating, but it'll be interesting as you continue to heal and grow past this point in your life where you are with part of the triangle missing,
Yeah.
and um, and how you're going to really regroup and who you're going to become. I think it's a fascinating journey.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing that this is probably the second biggest thing to happen, but I mean, the biggest was getting married at 50. Actually, it was 51. I got engaged at 50. That was huge. And
Yeah.
it wreaked havoc, this is in a good way, on my relationship with my parents, because they didn't have me anymore I was out of the picture. Bye. I'm out of
Yep.
here. You guys, you fix yourselves now. And see, because there were no boundaries growing up for me, I was forced to carry their emotional load. I don't know any different from that. And so all I knew was that I couldn't do it anymore. And I had a husband to consider, and it was probably unhealthy to be so connected and so close to them in a very dysfunctional way. So the last few years for me, it's been growth, constant growth this whole time. So that's kind of when it started. And this is sort of completing the circle with my dad going, because I'm able to let go now and release the baggage.
Yeah.
I don't have to carry it anymore. That's not mine. It was never mine to begin with.
Right. And you can put it
When
down.
I say that in the meditation.
Right.
I forgive myself for not healing my parents. And it was never my job to begin with.
No.
And I release them. And as I release them, I feel light and lifted. I mean, I just say these things to myself because it's sort of true.
It's definitely true. It's a big revelation when you realize I've been carrying this weight that wasn't mine.
Oh God. And you don't know it until you get the chains cut off. And then all of a sudden, oh my God, I can lift my arm. I'm, so I've been trying to do it in earnest for quite a while, little baby steps, which has been super healthy for me, because they've hated it. My parents, when I got married, oh my God, they really derailed because I wasn't there anymore for them.
You changed the dance.
I changed the dance and I changed the dynamic.
Yep.
But man, it did great things for me. It really forced me to step up and say, this is what I need now. It's my time.
Yeah.
You've had your time.
There are a lot of people who are still stuck there. So whoever's listening to this is an important message that you have to take care of yourself. You have to cut those unhealthy ties, and not in a mean way, because you can still love them. I mean, here you are still taking care of them, but you had somebody else in your life who was very important to you, and that becomes your first priority on top of yourself. And like when I got married, my father was calling me. My parents had just gotten divorced, and he was calling me and talking badly about my mother. And I started hanging up on him for the first time. That was my first boundary, because I said, this is not appropriate.
Right.
And I felt bad in the beginning because I wasn't used to doing that. But I knew, like, I was feeling so sick from it, and it was actually making me sick. And my husband and myself were the new family dynamic. This is the system. And so you don't include that toxicity in that system, and it's hard for people to create the boundaries.
It is so hard because you feel like a bad person.
Yeah. Yeah, but
But
you're
it's
not.
so, oh, you're not. It's so empowering and so freeing to say no. I'm an empath. So I take on, I take on people's pain pretty fast. Although I used to take it on. Let me rephrase. I identify it very fast now. And on a very intuitive level. I can start talking to a potential client and I can tell you exactly why they are the way they are, why they are overweight, why they're out of shape, why they're lazy, why they hate themselves. I mean, I can feel it. And I
Mm-hmm.
know, and as a result, I know how to proceed with them. So
Yeah.
that's good. It helps a lot in my business. A ton it helps because you're almost like a minute I can identify who they are and their psychology and their soul. The work it comes a little easier that way.
So let's take us all back to meeting Robbie and like that whole big aha and change, and what happened to you when you turned 50 and changed your whole life.
So I was at a pretty dark, bad time in my life. It wasn't horrible, but it was definitely the perfect storm of despair. Um, I was about to turn 50. I wasn't yet married. I had tried and was unsuccessful at having kids. And my career was, it was okay. It wasn't reaching stellar heights like I would have wanted to. So I was sort of in a shitty place, and I had just broken up with, like, I don't know, the umpteenth person, and a few months before my 50th birthday. And Robbie, he and I were Facebook friends. And he had reached out to me in a private message out of concern for a mutual friend of ours who was going through a tough time. And I was intimately familiar with the people, the parties. And Robbie kind of wanted to do a little intervention. And just based on everything I just told you, I said, oh, no.
Yeah.
Boundaries. No intervention. No, I don't want to get involved. This friend of ours is, he's a big boy, and all we can do is hope and pray he makes good choices in life. That's it. That's all you can really do. But you seem like a nice guy, Robbie Scharf. And I made a little mental note that he was nice and caring and concerned. Seemed like a good guy. So, but at the time, like I said, I had just broken up with someone and I was in no mood to be flirty or funny or anything. I said, no, thanks. Good luck to you. And nice talking to you. And then couple months passed and I started feeling better. And during that time, I thought, well, I'm about to turn 50. I have, a choice here. I could either continue to feel bad about myself and feel sorry for myself, or I can just own, being 50 and single. Like, right? Like, what's the alternative? To take to my bed? It's not me.
No.
It's just not me. I guess I could have done it. So I threw myself a birthday party, and I invited tons of people. And for some reason, I invited Robbie. I don't know why. I had never met him personally, but he seemed like a nice guy. So I invited nice people. All nice people. You're invited. And so he showed up and brought me a bottle of champagne and was a total gentleman. And I saw him walk in and I gave him this hug. I said, oh my God, you showed up. That's so great. You don't know anybody. And that's so ballsy and, bold of you. And come on in. And then that was that. And I sort of lost track of him during the party. And then we spoke the next day. And then the next week he asked me out on a date. And that was really fun. It was the night after Valentine's Day. Because Valentine's Day, I actually had a blind date.
Oh my God, who does that?
Well, when you're 50, you don't give a shit anymore.
Anything goes, right?
Anything goes. You make your own rules. Who cares? It's just
right.
It's just another night, and it was just another date. Except he kissed me and
not good.
he was, not cool. He was inappropriate. I mean, I guess there are a lot of women that would love to be kissed like that, but not he.
Yeah.
Without permission.
Too much face.
Whereas Robbie asked if you could kiss me. Right? I mean,
checked in.
Come on, right?
Yeah.
Can I kiss you? Oh, yes, you can. Oh my God. And then cut to, long story short, we got engaged 6 months later.
That was fast track. So what was different? You said he was a nice guy. He asked permission. He was respectful. He was kind. What else stood out that made this guy be the one?
Yes, all those things. And just Hamish, Menchie, not a player, not a jerk, honest, decent. So all that, with that said, I changed. So I was different to receive that. There was a great shift when I decided to embrace being 50 and single and not be ashamed of it.
Mm-hmm.
There was a major shift in me. And suddenly I relaxed because I let go. So when I relaxed and let go, I didn't care really. And so this nice guy comes into the picture. I didn't care if he married me or not.
Right.
Get it? Like all that angst was gone. I didn't care. Let's just hang out. Let's not call it anything. Let's just have fun. I don't want to worry. I don't want to have anxiety and, is this going anywhere? And, is this going to happen? Am I finally going to get married? And I took it off the table. It was done. It was not even a consideration anymore. And because of that, I was able to enjoy the ride. Get it? So I responded differently to him, and I was I don't know, just relax. It's the only word that comes to me. So whatever happened, he sort of drove it. I didn't feel like I had to like keep timing or track, or it just was easy, and it was sort of it just flowed. It just kind of took on its own life and powered itself with very little effort on my part, which was a relief, because I had always like square peg, round hole, force, push.
Yeah. I mean, you spent your whole life managing people,
Yeah. So,
and also I just wanted to reflect on the letting go piece, because again, just like the breath keeps coming back in this conversation, letting go has come up many times, both in your meditation, your ability to relax, letting go of expectations, forgiveness, releasing. These are such important things that people really need to hear, because so many times relationships are right in front of you. And when you're not receptive, you can't even see it. You can't make it happen.
Yeah.
And when you brought up the Medium article that you read, the feedback that she was harsh, and that is such a common thing. That was who I was. I mean, I was that Tootsie Pop. That's what I talk about all the time. And I got that feedback from somebody probably 20 years after I dated him. He was married. His wife had asked him why he didn't really pursue a relationship with me, because she knew about me while she was dating him. And he said, she's harsh. I was like, whoa, I had no idea I was coming across that way. But it's that sarcasm, the guards, and I'm tough, I can handle it, I'm the Maytag repair woman, that is how most of us go through life, after heartache, after pain.
Yeah. It's something that needs to happen organically. You can't hurry it up.
Yeah.
I can say to you that I wish I knew all this 10, 20 years ago, because maybe, well, I think I was meant to meet Robbie, so it couldn't have happened 1 minute before it did.
Yeah.
But I will say that your energy and the way the frequency at which you vibrate is everything.
It is.
it's so subtle too. I remember a guy running into a guy I had an online date with, and he said to me, I really liked you, but you seemed so sad at the time. What?
Right? That leaked out of me.
I did?
Yeah.
Holy shit. I had no idea.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like I said, you don't get your answers, or you don't get your feedback, or you don't get input.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to stay as connected and mindful and present with yourself, and observant and aware of what energy you're giving out.
Yeah. And we
And how
often
that
can't see it.
it's really hard. It's really, really hard. Sometimes you have to hit bottom. Sometimes you have to give up, and in a good way, give up. And I did. I really did. And I also on Medium read an article about self-acceptance versus self-improvement.
Oh my God.
Oh, that's a good one.
That topic comes up all the time in my Facebook group. And it's the topic of, everybody tells me I have to love myself more. I have to do more work. And it's like, it's pissing me off. I don't want to do any more work. I already feel like I love myself. And I'm like, it's not about loving yourself more. It's really not. It's not like, oh, just another little 10% more of loving myself and self-improvement, read another book. That's not what it's all about. It really is. It's mindset shifts. It's self-acceptance. It's self-compassion. It's self-worth.
So, self-acceptance is so sexy.
It is.
It's so, I mean, I know some of the happiest, most attractive women are, I have a couple of friends that are a little on the heavier side, and you wouldn't know it. They accept themselves, and as do other people, because they have such a level of confidence that it's very magnetizing. You know what I mean?
It is. You have a glow. Like it really, really do.
Yeah. And so I always say that the happier you are being single, this probably, not in every case, the sooner you won't be single, because you will be, whatever work you're doing on yourself, it won't have gone to waste. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You will just be a happier, healthier person.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, it's the same with the job search. If you're looking for a job and your life is miserable at home and you have nothing going on, you're going to be deflated every single time you don't ace the interview. But if you have a full life, you come into that job interview, you're happier, you're not attached to the outcome. This is a big part of this whole conversation, is being detached from the outcome, letting that go. Because when you're attached, you're putting out this energy of scarcity, and I have to hold on, and oh my God, I can't let go, and there's anxiety. It's like, oh, nobody wants to be around that energy unless you're really a sick person, and you love that, but very few people would enjoy being around that kind of energy.
No, desperation.
No,
not a good look.
Does not at all
good. And I know I make my living in the self-improvement business, so I'm all for it. It's important. It's important to your psyche. It's important to your growth and your continuing evolution to keep, you don't have to be perfect, but keep, at it, whatever that is, right? And as it applies to dating, you got to be willing to put forth effort. You have to. I mean, you got to look good. You got to take care of yourself. You got to make some effort, but at the same time, you've got to be able to let go of the outcome, to detach, find a balance there where you're doing it for you, whatever that is. And then chances are other good things will happen because of that. Yeah. I've found that it's a little bit of a fine line walking, to accepting yourself as you are, and then saying, okay, well, I can improve upon certain things.
It's not from self-loathing that you improve. You're improving because you want to reach even higher heights of who you're meant to be in the world. And I love when people are always on this path of self-growth, when it's not just some treadmill or, hamster wheel where you're just constantly there and you're never there really, because you're always feeling like it's not enough, it's not enough, it's not enough.
Right.
The difference is it is enough. And I have such a thirst for knowledge. It's coming from that space of curiosity, and there's so much out there to learn. Like I want more. So, and the problem is people do get caught up in that analysis paralysis where they just think they have to learn one more thing before they're ready. And it's so important to be out there doing as well as learning. So I just want to put that out there too, because we learn so much in the doing, in the experience of something, rather than the preparation and the thinking, and we're not yet there.
Yeah. And then I read another article on me.
You read a lot.
No, this one was on Huffington Post about a woman who hit 60, and the article was, am I going to be alone for the rest of my life? Like, am I going to be single forever? She was divorced. She had a kid or two, and she was saying, kind of lamenting the fact that she does all these things, and she's got friends and hobbies, and she does this and she does that, and I'm thinking, as I'm reading this, I'm thinking, so what if you don't meet someone? You have a really full, fun life, lady. There's a chance you won't meet someone. There is a chance that or it may take a long time. Geez, enjoy the ride, enjoy it, because in her case, I applauded her, and more power to you. You're doing everything right. Now let it go. Forget it. Just go, all right, yay me. I'm doing all these things for myself. And hey, if it happens, great. If it doesn't, you're going to be fine too.
Yeah. And that's an important thing to remember. So I totally agree with you. And I think a lot of times people get caught up in the busyness of life, and they almost numb themselves with too many hobbies and things and doing. So if love is a priority, you have to get out there and make that happen too. So it's a combination of both.
Yeah, no. Like I said, you got to be willing to make the effort.
Yeah.
And you got to be willing, once you make the effort, to let go of the outcome.
All right. So let's get back to where you are now. Like, so you got married, you now have this amazing podcast, a really popular podcast, congratulations on the success of it.
Thanks.
And you guys are just fun and create something really unique and special with Robbie's craziness. But your chemistry together, and it's for all the fun, it's also a very high class act.
Thank you. I like to think that we hit it hard. We probe, we dig, we go deep, but we have just enough comic relief.
Yeah.
To keep it from getting too dry or heavy.
Yeah. It's a nice balance.
Yeah.
Today's all about balance. Finding that fine line between
that's what happens when you're married, when your podcast partner is your 10-year-old husband, as I like to call him, 10-year-old Robbie.
Oh yeah, I don't know. 10 is giving him a few years.
Yeah, right.
A lot of fart noises. We should, in the show notes, I'll put a link to the podcast we did. So tell us, so where are you now, and what's your vision for the future, for your work, for your life?
I wrote a book based on my blogs, and it's not just the blogs regurgitated. It's what was going on behind the blogs. What was the story? Why those things were happening? What I did. It's honest. It's brutal. It's very open. It's funny. It's prescriptive. It's got tons of how-to and sort of survival guide type stuff to being single. And working title right now is Confessions of a Late Blooming Bride.
Love it.
A 50-year-old newlywed dishes the dirt on conquering singledom and finding love later in life. And the podcast on being single continues to grow and be fun. And I don't know what I don't know. It just keeps going. I mean, it's shocking. We're on year 3.
Wow.
It's shocking because we didn't seek this out. It just, someone came to us and said, hey, your blog sounds like it'd make a great podcast. And I agreed. And then I said, great, but only if my husband can come along. And that's how Done Being Single was born. And then my own coaching business, fitness and life coaching, and learning how to fold a fitted sheet. So I was raised by a single mother who was a working woman.
Uh-huh.
And I love her for it. And I got a lot of great stuff from her from that. Domesticity was not, I didn't really learn how to cook, although I'm completely self-taught in a lot of those areas. So I'm getting myself up to speed on the whole wife thing.
We are going into the lightning round, and I'm going to ask you some quick questions. And you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So fill in the blank. I used to think I wasn't blank enough.
Marryable, not lovable, just that something either I didn't want it, or they didn't want me, or there was some disconnect there for a really long time. I thought, no one wants to marry me. I take full responsibility for my part.
Yeah. We always have these blind spots that we can't see. We don't realize the love blocks we have. And it's a good thing you did. Okay. What was the number one thing holding you back from becoming a woman of value?
Patting myself on the back, self-praise, self-validation.
That you did not have enough?
Did not
have self-validation.
Not the source of my own validation.
Nice. You got there. Pat yourself on the back for that one. All right, Treva. The next question is, what's a mistake you made that taught you an important life lesson?
Not respecting time, not being conscious of time, thinking goes back to fertility. Taught me a huge lesson because I got a late start. Okay, now for the record, I'm a late bloomer. So it's, in keeping with my rhythm. But I would say that, time, you have a lot of it, but be mindful of it. That was a regret of mine.
That you didn't.
That I didn't value it or appreciate it like I should have.
Huh.
I didn't, I don't know. It just took me a long time to sort of, longer than most, to get it together, and pretty much across the board.
What is the best advice you can give to a woman who wants to become more empowered?
Do things, engage in activities, and surround yourself with people who will give you validation on a daily basis, that will make you feel worthy. If you have a hard time finding it within yourself, do things that make you feel proud. Do little things, micro steps, baby steps, micro habits that give you a sense of accomplishment. A little every day. A little advance your life a little every day. Do a little something that's going to give you a sense of pride.
Yeah, and I think we often look at the whole staircase. I've mentioned this before on the podcast, but that whole Martin Luther King quote about, we tend to, I don't know the exact quote, but it's like, just look at the first step. We look at, oh my God, how am I going to get up there? And it's like, just take that first step. And often that propels you, gives you that energy to move forward and get to the next step. But so many people just feel stuck.
Yeah, Robbie and I volunteer. Well, Robbie's been a volunteer coach at Special Olympics for over almost, 35 years.
That's lovely.
As do I. And I'm a mentor. I belong to the Fulfillment Fund, which is a mentoring organization. And if you feel bad about yourself, or down, or lacking power, and if you just feel like, I don't know, shitty about life, volunteer.
Yeah.
It's the best antidepressant ever.
Yeah, because depression is you looking inward, and when you volunteer, you're out there being of service to others. It helps you to get out of here and into there. Yeah, no, that's beautiful. And finally, Treva, this has been an amazing time with you, as always. How would you like to be remembered?
I was patting my back
like going, yeah, you didn't cry the whole,
Oh.
the whole interview. Doing good in the world, helping people. Like my dad, he was a good man.
Mm.
And I don't know, just to somehow change people, make a difference on a small scale or big scale. I don't know. I kind of I try to honor the highest good for all concerned at all times. And I think that's how my father operated too. Sorry.
No, there's no apologies. No, you are so much that. And even this podcast episode, I'm sure will inspire many people. So thank you. Thank you for showing up, for standing up, for speaking up, and for inspiring others to step into their value.
Thank you so much. This has been really deep and profound. And I feel like you're getting me at a good time because I'm just slightly raw, vulnerable, and open.
If you would like to step more fully into your value, grab a free copy of The Ultimate Guide to Becoming a Woman of Value on my website, thewomanofvalue.com. Just click the link at the top of the homepage. And if you haven't already done so, be sure to click the subscribe button in your listening app. And if there's something in this episode that inspired you, please share it with others, because the more we share these inspirational stories, the more women of value we will have in this world. I'll see you next time.